So let's say you just sold somebody, a listener's like, all right, I'm in, and maybe they have sold work through Instagram, or they, they're in galleries, or even they have their own website. They are selling artwork. What are like a couple of tips, like easy to get people started on Etsy if they just have never used the platform, or if they maybe kind of like have used it, but kind of felt like in the past they didn't really use it to its best extent?
Yes, such a great question. So, the main thing that people struggle with on Etsy is how do you get your products found? So, Etsy is a very popular platform. There are a lot of small businesses, a lot of artists, a lot of creatives on there. And that's just because they bring in 80 million shoppers per year. So, everyone wants to be on there, right? So, what happens here is how do you get your products seen? How do you actually get found? When someone types in modern artwork, how do you show up on that first page so people can actually click and then learn more and then add to cart? So, the first problem or the first place for opportunity is getting your products actually found. And what this really comes down to is SEO, titles, tags, keywords. And this is, I think, the basics that people know about Etsy. Like they know that the title of your product is important, the keywords, the SEO is important, but they don't execute it in the right way. So when we talk about the title of your product, this is literally when someone is searching something, if your title matches that search, you're going to show up because it's a direct match. But what people do is either one of two mistakes. Number one, they're way too general with their title. So if someone sells candles, for example, instead of talking about the specifics of their candle, they talk about, oh, just a candle that's lavender. And now you're competing against 50,000 other products that are lavender candles.
Right.
But if you get super specific, you're going to be a perfect match for the person who types in, I want a coconut apricot wax candle that has a wooden wick, that has dried lavender floral buds on top, that is scented with lavender and coconut or lavender and tropical scents, that's in a blue vase or a blue cement vessel or a blue jar or whatever it may be. So, when we get super specific with our title that we use, we're going to become a match for that person who's looking for something super specific. And I think where people mess up here is they don't realize that if someone's shopping on Etsy, they're looking for that specific item. If they wanted any old candle or any old piece of art, they would go on Amazon, they would go to Target. But if they're on Etsy, they're looking for something unique for a specific room in their house, for a specific purpose, for a specific gift, for someone that loves something in particular. So, the biggest mistake that I see when people are giving a title to their product is being super general, trying to be for everyone when Etsy is for shoppers who are looking for something specific. So, really leaning into those descriptive words to title your product. Instead of saying, for my example, my product was called Heal and Glow Facial Serum, but no one is actually searching that. They're
Mm-hmm.
searching organic moisturizer for dry skin, anti aging, acne benefits, healing the skin, things like that. And those are the words that you should use in your title. So, a couple tricks that I love to tell people is imagine you're on the phone with a friend. How would you describe your artwork to them? What type of modality did you use to create it? What colors? Where is it good for? Is it like a massive piece that goes in a living room, a statement piece? Is it something that's good in a bedroom? Is it something that's for the bathroom? So, really having those descriptive words as if you're describing it to a friend on the phone who can't see what your item is. How would you describe it? So, that's the biggest initial piece of feedback that I would give for people starting on Etsy. This is probably the hardest part because it takes some trial and error, takes some learning, it takes some testing. But as you continue to evolve here and find what works, this is going to give you that leg up to actually be seen on that search results page. Now, what comes next is making sure when they click on your listing, you have all the details, all the photos that people need to feel confident to add to purchase. So that's kind of like the next steps. But the main step is you have to get your products found. You have to know what people are searching. You have to be super specific, super descriptive, and that is how you start to get traction and actually get your product seen on Etsy.
Yeah, I love that piece of advice. And I guess my question would be, let's say you were testing the waters and you did a title. If you maybe give it some time, like a month or two, I don't know how long it would take to kind of get traction, but should you switch the title if you're not seeing results? Like, how do you recommend, like, time wise, kind of trial and erroring
Yes.
it?
Great question. I would recommend to give it like 2 to 4 weeks. So
Okay.
choose your titles, and then on Etsy, you can also add them as tags. So that's basically saying, hey, Etsy, I want to be associated with these words. So choose what you have, let it run for 2 to 4 weeks, and then Etsy does have statistics on your visits and your views. So see how it looks, right? And if you're not getting the traction that you want, cool. Now, after 2 to 4 weeks, we go back and we tweak. A couple things that we can do when we're tweaking is search for products like yours and see what other people on that first page are using in their title, because success leaves clues, right? So if someone
Mhm.
else is having amazing progress on the first page, let's see what words they're using and start to extrapolate some of those words and add them to your title as well. Now, another thing that someone can do if it's been 2 to 4 weeks and they're not seeing results, I actually recommend this right from the start. But when you have your title, every single one of those words, go into Etsy and do a search for them, because then you're going to see what other items are showing up. Does your product, does your artwork align with that? Is it the right vibe? Is that where you want to be? And if not, let's not use those words because they're not making any benefit, right? I
Right.
actually have an example from a client who sold beautiful, I believe it was watercolor tree paintings of like fruit trees, like oranges and lemons and things like that. Beautiful watercolor. And what she did is in her Etsy title, she put modern art. And when you go to Etsy and you type in modern art, it's the very like geometric and the rainbows and the squares, and there's
Mhm.
nothing green or lemon or orange tree on that page. So what she was doing is trying to use words that literally didn't match with her vibe. So if she showed up on that first page, well, cool, but everyone else on that page is selling a different vibe. So you don't even want to be there because
Right.
chances are someone's not going to click on your listing. So that's another little hack. If you're not seeing results, or even right from the start, too, let's look up those words that you're using. Make sure your artwork actually fits. Do you want to be associated with that? Do you coincide with that? Because if yes, that's where you want your products to be and where you want to be found right there.